Shalom. All praises, blessings, glories, and honors to Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Racha, Kwadash. Double honors to my elder apostles and bishop elders of Great Millstone, who taught me this truth, as well of men of like mind. Shalom wa chasad, which means peace and mercy, to the elect of the nation of Israel, whom are so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native American Indians, and Israelite foreigners of the seed line of our forefathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, whom are scattered here in America, which is Babylon the Great, and abroad. To you I say Shalom, beginning with the 144,000 prophets, and Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, willing. This lesson is edifying and informative. I'm the brother Quanawath. Without further ado, this is the book of 1 Thessalonians chapter 5, verse 3. But when they shall say, peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them, as travail upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape. In the news, from the CBS, New York. Hochul deploys National Guard for subway bag checks amid rising crime numbers. This is another great example of gradualism and Hegelian dialect.
After a series of violent incidents on the subway, Governor Hochul announces a new 5-point safety plan.
And it includes bringing in the National Guard and also adding cameras. This is on top of Mayor Adams' announcement yesterday to add more cops and reinstitute bag checks. CBS 2 political reporter Marcia Kramer here now. And just as this plan takes effect, Marcia, there's more violence on the subway.
Yes, there is, Christine and Maurice. Governor Hochul and Mayor Adams said the new safety plan will protect both passengers and transit workers. So it was more than ironic that within an hour after the safety plan was announced, with much fanfare, I might add, another subway conductor was attacked.
And let me just be very, very clear. These brazen, heinous attacks on our subway system will not be tolerated.
Tough talk from Governor Hochul as she announced that 100 members of the National Guard and MTA cops would be deployed in the subway system to help the NYPD conduct bag checks to keep weapons off the trains. But it didn't stop the violence. Minutes after she spoke, a conductor was struck on the head with a bottle at the East 170th Street and Jerome Avenue station.
I know how it plays on your psyche when you hear about some random acts of violence, and that's why we must be proactive.
Both the mayor, who is noticeably absent from the governor's announcement, and NYPD Transit Chief Michael Kemper defended the bag checks as an important safety tool.
Including with what they're doing, checking bags to make sure explosive or illegal weapons aren't entering our subway system, it's also creating another sense of presence.
City Hall sources tell CBS 2 that each week the NYPD will deploy 94 bag screening teams at 136 stations, about a third of the 472 stations in the system. In addition to the bag checks, Hochul's plan includes amending state law to ban repeat offenders, installing cameras in each conductor's cabin, $20 million for mental health outreach, and a plan to improve coordination between cops and district attorneys to go after repeat offenders, the offenders who seem to make all the headlines that scare people.
There's a psychological impact. People worry they could be next.
Transit riders have mixed feelings about whether the bag checks will improve safety.
How many people do you know that actually carry a knife or a gun in their bag when it is that they're ready to stick you up? Hold up, let me go in my bag. Doesn't make sense.
New York City subway is crazy. You don't know what to anticipate anymore. I would rather bag checks than to end up dead.
I know these are difficult times in many ways, and I've been through bag checks before. They do them at theaters. I can do it if I have to do it.
Now, the head of the Transit Workers Union, Richard Davis, said that the measures don't go far enough and that the 1,000 National Guard and MTA police can be temporary. I asked Governor Hochul how long the surge would last, but she refused to say how long, and she refused to say how long the state would fund the program. She tartly pointed out that New York City has an unanticipated $3 billion surplus. And I want you to know it's already getting pushed back. I'll have that story coming up at 6.
Okay.
All in a day. Thank you, Marcia.
Right.
So this is indefinite, and eventually it will be carried over to when they mandate the MOTB, because those that do not have and that won't have the MOTB will be denied access to society. They'll be denied access to transit, including subways and buses, bridges and tunnels. They'll be denied being able to go to grocery stores and supermarkets, denied having a job or a side hustle, because it is written that no man will be able to buy or sell save he that had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. So this is nothing more than gradualism towards biblical prophecy. They're setting the stage. They're laying the groundwork. And this will also help them to keep track, or rather keep things locked down and in check, especially during the evils of Jacob's trouble, when society is going to be completely lawless. Thus, these Edomites will come down as madmen, sparing none, through their UN troops, their Gerger troops, their National Guard troops. We're going to be seeing tanks and Humvees loaded with machine guns and troops on the streets of America, Babylon the Great, in the very near future. And this is just another example of gradualism, which is the idea of achieving a desired means through gradual stages. Destruction cometh, and they shall seek peace, and there shall be none. 1 Thessalonians chapter 5, verse 3, for when they shall say peace and safety, when these governors and mayors and local leaders are going to be promising people peace and safety, oh, we have to establish such and such laws and bring in such and such troops to keep you safe from this and that, because they engineer the problem so that they can be justified for the people's sake and bring in the order out of chaos. But when they shall say peace and safety, and you're going to have people that's going to eat it up. Real gullible. Then sudden destruction cometh upon them, the same ones that trust in the shadows of Egypt. Then sudden destruction, which cometh, will come upon them suddenly, as travail upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape. And so as travail comes upon a woman with child suddenly in the 9th month, when she's about to deliver up her child, that's how the destruction is going to come upon the people. That is going to be promised peace and safety by these Edomites. In other reports from the RT, Nigeria will apply for BRICS. Obviously, the West will not be happy, especially the U.S., about this. So we should expect to see some interesting things unfold concerning the U.S. and Nigeria in the near future. They might get hit with sanctions, or somebody might get assassinated, or they may attempt assassinations. We don't know. We'll have to wait and see what happens. Okay, it says the African nation sees joining the group as a way to make its voice heard on a global stage, according to Foreign Minister Yusuf Tagar. Nigeria plans to apply for membership in the BRICS group of emerging countries after the necessary domestic arrangements are complete, Foreign Minister Yusuf Tagar has said. The diplomat is in Moscow this week on a 3-day working visit from March 5th to 7th. On Wednesday, Tagar met with his Russian counterpart Sergei Lavrov to discuss bilateral relations, as well as the country's regional and global agenda. Talking to the news agency Sputnik on a range of issues, including potential BRICS membership, he stated, "We intend to do it." Like I said before, Nigeria runs a deliberative, democratic system. So there tends to be a lot of engagement with different interest groups, different internal bodies before such an action is taken. Excuse me. Tugger also emphasized the importance of Nigerian Vice President Kasim, if I pronounce his name correctly, Shettima's participation in the 2023 BRICS Summit in South Africa. Noting, so we're very keen on it. We look forward to it. In November 2023, Tugger disclosed that Nigeria will seek to join BRICS within the next 2 years to ensure the nation's representation and influence on the global stage. He also said that the West African nation is open to joining any alliance that has constructive, well-defined goals. The BRICS, group of emerging economies, which was until recently comprised of Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, underwent a major expansion in January of this year when Iran, Ethiopia, Egypt, United Arab Emirates joined. Saudi Arabia has also been invited and is set to become a member. Numerous other states have expressed an interest in joining. Some have already formally submitted applications. And in other news, Sweden has officially joined NATO. And we understand that according to biblical prophecy concerning Revelation 17 chapter, America's allies will betray America, Babylon the Great. According to the International Monetary Fund, IMF, BRICS currently accounts for as much as 36% of global GDP in terms of purchasing power parity, PPP, compared to just over 30% for the G7 group of developing economies. This concludes the article. In other news from the BBC, millions affected by German air and rail strikes. Millions of travelers in Germany are facing severe disruption to transportation services because of strikes by rail and airport staff. So these things are obviously affecting the German economy and the German consumers, especially Israelites amongst the Edomite Germans that are living in low-income neighborhoods, poverty-stricken neighborhoods. The 2-day strike by Lufthansa airline ground staff has coincided with a 35-hour strike by train drivers. So a lot of people and not just people, but businesses have been suffering from these strikes. All right, from this 35-hour strike, rail operator Deutsche Bahn said only 20% of long-distance trains are running on Germany's largest airport. Check that out. So a lot of people missed their flights, man. Frankfurt canceled all departures. The strikes are the latest in a wave of industrial action to hit Germany. Any major delay causes a lot of money to be lost. The walkouts are done with separate disputes over pay and working conditions with national carriers. Lufthansa, and state-owned rail operator Deutsche Bahn. Deutsche Bahn said it expected massive disruptions on Thursday and Friday, as well as long-distance train journeys. Regional services have also been affected since early Thursday, it said. Enough is enough. It's a big nonsense, and I can't quite understand whether the demands, some of which are certainly justified, have to be enforced with such harsh means. Stranded train passengers, Walter Rohrhart told APTN News in Berlin. So this is an example of the effects of it. Flights have also been greatly reduced, with German airline Lufthansa saying earlier this week that about 1,000 flights per day would be canceled. That's a lot of money being lost, affecting about 200,000 air passengers. Just 10% to 20% of its original schedule was expected to take off, with flights from Hamburg and Berlin airport also disrupted. Germany has faced months of strikes as union members and service operators wrestle over pay raises, and working hours. And I'll conclude the article here. The point has already been read. I will leave the rest of it in the description box, Lord's willing, of the lesson for you brothers and for you sisters to read at your own leisure. So with that, I will conclude this lesson. Again, this is the book of 1 Thessalonians chapter 5, verse 3. Just a quick in the news, quick update, letting brothers and few sisters know what's going on out there in the world concerning, current events, biblical prophecy. Again, this is 1 Thessalonians chapter 5, verse 3. For when they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them as travail upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape. And so when the Lord brings judgment upon this world, because many great miseries are coming, people will not be able to escape. 2 Ezra chapter 8, verse 50. For many great miseries shall be done to them that in the latter time shall dwell in the world. Why? Because they have walked in great pride. And so because the people have walked in great pride, they will experience many great miseries. They will be troubled on every side. They will be despairing on every side because of all the hell that the Lord is going to be bringing. They try to flee from one thing, they'll run into another, and another, and another, and so on and so forth. Can't escape the judgments of the Lord. So the cities are going to be troubled. And so with that, I say shalom, Lord's willing, until the next.